and start recording and do the live thing at the same time. Live on Facebook. Oh, big money, big money.
Big money, no whammies.
No doubt. So, oh, I can't tell you yet. I gotta wait. How's the weather there?
Gorgeous. It's actually overcast, so it's not super hot. It's a light breeze, and I'm taking it easy today. I'm gonna do work for about 3 hours and just chill out.
And you're on the West Coast, right?
Yep, San Diego, America's finest city.
Yep. Somebody else that I was chatting with earlier today is on the East Coast, and it is also a dreary day. A dreary day there. However, I'm sure it's much colder where she is than San Diego.
Yeah. So it looks like we're streaming live on Facebook. Outstanding.
I know. Does it show us talking? Because mine shows a play button in the middle.
No, I'm only looking at Zoom right now, so it's just you and me.
Okay, perfect. So, all right, it's being live streamed. Got it. Yes, score. Sorry for the late notice, folks. Actually, sorry, not sorry, but I thought to myself, I really should start doing these live. Why didn't I do that? And then, like on a day like today, where I feel like a rock star having Rob Garcia on here, I was like, dude, I am a turd for spirit fingers. I am a turd for not giving everyone a heads up. So whatever. What it reminds me of is MTV's old show, like pop-up video. So now we just need those like fun facts to come across the screen.
Rob is a high school dropout.
Oh, I love it.
He's incapable of showing love.
That is hilarious. Oh, I got quite a few notes here that can pop up. Ghostbusters made him cry like a little bitch.
Oh yeah, I full on admit to it. I was weeping like a 6-year-old girl with a skin knee. I was all liquored up and just watching. I was like, oh, reminds me of my childhood.
I'm gonna have to watch the show. Haven't seen it at all. Oh, and once indulged and appreciated a moldy tuna fish sandwich. So with that being said, welcome Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist, who is so much more than that. He came across my radar in a veterans group where he just brings this presence of wanting to connect with other people and help them. But the connection with other people there is just so prominent that it makes you far more successful. And with that being said, success, it's measured in a lot of different ways. We're going to, there's a lot of different ways it's measured in, but a few things that are obvious for Rob Garcia would be his magazine, Shift Magazine. He owns his own magazine. He is also the executive director, like my notes, executive director of Strategy IQ podcast. I think I wrote that. Did I write it down right? But you also do so many other things that I won't sit here and ramble on about, but even just, I gotta say, like even just stalking you on Facebook, not stalking, I say that to everybody. Even just following you on social media, I get so much from it. Not just being someone who's trying to step into my own entrepreneurship and a life where I'm trying to help others, but then like really just seeing you model a life of self reflection, self-development, self-improvement, and dedication to improving yourself but helping others. And you're just still so, I'm going on and on, this is supposed to be about you, your podcast, but you're so real at the same time. Like I'll sit there and get jealous of your beautiful meals that you'll post. And I just get a lot from it. And then when, especially, again, if you just post a question like, who helps with this? And then all these people comment. And then, so then I get connected with other people and you just hear their answers and then I learn from them. And now that I've gone on forever, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jennifer, so much for having me on. This was a really, really nice thing that you're doing, and I'm always happy to help.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So with that being said, the podcast that I wanted to start after my own personal growth over writing a book and having those uncomfortable conversations with my husband, because it's a dual memoir, we had to dig deep and dig up some ugly stuff. So let's dig up the ugly stuff to tell people a little bit about your life and your journey, because you didn't always, you didn't just walk out of the womb privileged with all these things handed to you on a platter. You had to go through a lot to get there. So who is Rob Garcia behind the magazine and all the success that you're experiencing now?
I'm a person that has been fighting trauma for 20 years. The trauma of a very, very dysfunctional family, the trauma of low self-esteem, the trauma of hating who I was for many years. And it just made me kind of hard inside. And I feel like the last 15 and 10 years, it's gotten a little easier as I've hit some of my major milestones and pinnacles, and business has gotten better. But my 40s have been a real time of reflection where I've actually grown up a slight amount. I've always been very Peter Panish, kind of like Robin Williams, where he just never became an adult. He just was a very fun, youthful spirit. And that's what I feel I am. I was talking about this with my buddy the other day, and I was just like, dude, I still skateboard, date college chicks, and read Iron Man comic books and listen to techno music. I'm pretty much the same person I was at 19. Like I haven't changed very much. I just have a much nicer apartment, a little more money in my wallet. I really am a grown child at 45 years old, but I never got married. I never had kids. I just devoted my life like a Shaolin monk with that level of focus and intensity on finishing my PhD, starting my companies, and just being. Here's what's interesting, Jennifer. I created my niche. I created my industry. I completely changed the game in the sense that that's who I've tried to figure out as my brand identity for 4 years, right? Because I started this in about 2016, and I'm like, I know I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I know I'm going to be selling stuff and helping people, but I just don't know who I am. And then finally I figured out I'm Rob the Warrior Strategist. I didn't like life coaching, so I got out of it, but I love business strategies because that's the way my mind works. I can look at things and instantly have a diagnosis, call it my gift from the universe, whatever. And as I delved deeper into it, it was like, okay, business visibility strategist, like that's it. It's not digital marketing. It's not PR. It's a very, very complex recipe of different elements that come together to make the Rob experience very unique. And so over the years, it grew, and I added press releases, and I founded a magazine, and I started being able to pitch media stations for people and offering all these cool services. And then I finally feel like now in the last 2 years, I've stepped into who Rob the Warrior Strategist really is. But that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is your life can be whatever you want it to be. And people kind of take off those creative lenses sometimes and they forget, and they're like, hey, they lose that ability to daydream and to be creative and to sit down with graph paper and colored pencils and just say, hey, what if my business looked like this in 3 months? And that's who I love being. That's who I love. I love the strategy sessions. I love sitting down and thinking about, hey, what if I did this or did that? And the biggest thing I do for people, circling back to that great introduction you made, the biggest thing I feel like I do for people is I remind them that, yes, they can do it. Yes, they can be that person. Yes, their ideas aren't stupid, that somebody supports them. Somebody has been there, done that, supports them and wants them to win. And that's the mindset training is ultimately at the core of what I do. It's taking people that are scared. It's taking people that are nervous about their business or nervous about their income streams or whatever. And I tell them, hey, you can be an industry leader. You can have a $10,000 month. You can, be on stage or get on TV or be as famous as you want. I literally did it. And I did it because I want to show people that if I can do it, anybody can do it. I am the most plain, average, normal person out there. And I got 206 interviews on my own. And it just, and I want to inspire other people like, hey, believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, and just really go for it. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
Yeah, and actually something I heard you say when you were live with Annette Wittenberger on the Truths We Hide, she had said, or you had said, like, you're an idea coach, you know, and that's exactly right there. You know, as I was writing down notes, thinking about what I already knew about you, like there's so much more than you know, the PR, just so much. It's really an idea coach. But I love that you always committed to like knowing once you figured out all the stuff that like you were the warrior strategist, and now here it's really so much under this huge umbrella. And so it's interesting to hear you say that you found your own niche, like you don't fall under anyone else's umbrella, you're rocking your own. Super cool. And even as I was mentioning earlier, you know, like seeing the posts that you make and people getting involved and having these conversations and learning from one another just from a simple post, like you really do. And then as I've seen you give ideas to other people, you know, having the opportunity to be in another Facebook group where I've learned so much from you, and trying to take my ideas, which you hit it on the nail earlier about how people don't allow themselves to dream. You know, they don't even allow themselves to go there, to go to that creative space, because we're really not encouraged to. Like you're trained to fit into this, what
Oh,
you're
it's crazy.
expected.
When we're little kids, we're encouraged to daydream, but then when we stop being little kids and we're about 10 or 12, all of a sudden we're getting yelled at by our parents and our teachers. Quit looking out the window, quit daydreaming, focus on this, focus on that. And it's daydreams and it's creativity and it's letting your mind wander freely that will give you your best ideas. And you're right, creativity is squashed when you hit your teens, and it's up to us to revisit that.
Yeah, and that's a lot of fear to overcome, you know, like just knowing that for myself, moving from the space of teaching for 12 years and just knowing that like there was something else I know I need to do, and help other people in a different way of service. And that's okay. Like getting to the point to tell myself, like, that's okay. Like two master's degrees or not, that's okay. Like stop expecting yourself to do what you or everyone else expects you to do. Like if something lights your soul on fire, then you get at it. But even having, you know, getting to that point to overcome that fear, it just continues on, right? Like we're all faced with like fear that want to come at us all the time with these different things we want to do, which is why, again, grateful to be a part of the group that I learned from on there, because you really just you keep the group small, and you're able to just sit there and be like, look, here's what you need to do, and you just boom 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 boom, like all these ideas. And just like me needing a book coach that helped me, you know, I wouldn't have wrote that book had I not had the book coach being making me accountable, you know, telling me like, you wanted to do this, get out of your head. And so it's exactly like that. It helps to remind me that like you can do this. Like stop sitting here and not allowing yourself to do it. Like you got this. And I see you inspire all these other individuals. Super cool.
It's super important to bring people to a place of focus and clarity, because the group you're talking about is Design Your Paycheck. And I'm really glad that you became a part of that, because ultimately I want to see people taking that training and getting really, really focused and getting more involved. And it's up to me to lead from the front, keep creating fun content, and really challenging people to get out there, because the success story has been crazy. Like, you know, Faulkner launched his workshops, first workshop, made like $500, and out the gate. I mean, that's a stupendous result, just for starting off. And
Right.
you know, Lauren Harris, we had one phone call and he brought in $40,000 plus of consulting fees in a month.
And then
And it's just crazy. Gail Nicholson did an event, 3,000 in sponsor fees. So it's just design your paycheck is powerful, and it's as much money as you want if you're willing to do the work. That's what it's about.
And then I remember another testimony on there where I think it was on there. I think a wood maker, like he was like running out of product. He's like, Rob, like I'm running out of product over here. Or somebody who creates some physical item, like you help them do something, and or maybe you had mentioned this on Annette's podcast live video, but he was running out of inventory basically, like, and it was a good problem to have.
I think it was either Ballish or Pinkerton, because I've worked at both of them. But Ballish, we had a violent result for him, in the sense that I got him in this giant newspaper in his area, and he literally had to take out a loan and expand his wood shop because so many orders were pouring in. And then I got him on, when he had an event, I got him on CBS News like in a day. And then I got him in something else. He got a shout out in like Cigar Snob magazine or something. And then Woodworker magazine offered him a writing gig. I mean, this is what I do. He was one of my best results, but this is what I do as a strategist. Is I look at your industry, I look at your business, and I'm like, okay, how can we correspond media coverage with what you're doing? Is it going to be industry specific, like woodworking? Is it going to be veteran specific, you know, because he's a combat vet? Or is it going to be like just entrepreneurial / business? Or is it going to be regional? With him, I could apply all these different strategies, and it worked out like crazy. And I was super grateful that happens, because once in a while I can, you know, I get good results for all my clients, but once in a while I can crack one out of the park.
Right. Well, I look forward to mine getting cracked out of the park, because you really helped me to like think about how I could go from helping, you know, this amount of people to like helping even more people, you know, like even just giving the smallest piece of advice of like, after a live webinar, like you keep that video and you be able to distribute it for a lifetime. Like even something as small as that might seem asinine and like, well, duh, of course you can do that, but your mind doesn't go there because you just don't even, I'm not the strategist. I don't think about that kind of stuff. And frankly, when you sit down with a list of your goals and what you want to make happen, it's kind of, that fear creeps in again. And then you're like, oh God, how do I do this? And then I slow it down and I continue to learn through other different things that I do. But like, even as like in that group, going to your guides and just seeing like how to take some certain simple task of like, I want to be a speaker, you know, or I want to have a workshop, like I could go on there and already get specific information on how to make my dreams come true without Googling it and hoping to come across some good, you know, things, some good resources, when there's just far too many out there and it won't be specific to what exactly I'm trying to do. So I value that very much. And then you telling me that that's something that I can do to be able to like continue to use that information to help other people is just like, seems like a no-brainer, but then it's not. Like, it's like, well, yeah, that's smart. That's smart as crap. Recently on one of your posts, when you were just making a real post about, you know, where you've come from through the struggles and the comfortable feelings and the not so comfortable feelings, you wrapped it up with a quote. It was a rough 10 years, but sometimes the right person wins. I like that you bring attention to earlier that like, it's now that you're in your 40s that like you're experiencing a lot of like personal growth, or whatever the term was that you referred to. And I'm glad we bring attention to that, because for listeners and viewers, it's just important to remember that it's not too late to like feel better, to focus on you. You need to focus on you until the day you croak. Really, that was harsh.
I love that. And let's use this as an opportunity to talk about self-care, because that's been a big one. You know, obviously we're in a very traumatic time, and people forget that we're in a time that's going to be in history books. Like we're in something as significant as the Depression, or as World War II, or, you know, the Irish potato famine, like something that's historically significant. And people forget that there will be a smoothing out, an evening out where it's manageable as more people get vaccinated, as more herd immunity builds, as more people, as more people shake it off and it becomes as common as just like the cold. Mm-hmm. The world will adjust back to what normal was. And right now, though, in the middle of it, it's very important to practice self-care. It's very important to understand why you feel sad or why you feel angry, or maybe you're lashing out at a partner, all this different stuff. And that's one thing, Jennifer, that I will say I've been selfish about, is I take care of me first. And I have no compunctions about it. I ended a relationship. It made my sleep wacky, gave me bursts of manic energy. So I just been getting up at 3-4 in the morning. I exercise 2 hours a day, and I don't feel bad about it at all. And I'll sit down and strategize for an hour, start my day at 8:30, 9:30, whatever. Sometimes I'll just go to the coffee shop till 11 and read books. But the point is, I don't have to have a fixed schedule, because as an entrepreneur, I can do whatever I want, and it's create that balance in my mind. Because if my mind is balanced and I'm happy and I'm satiated and I feel, okay, I got outside today, I talked to some people, did some exercise, for the 2 or 3 hours that I actually do work for clients, it will be a very focused, very intense 2 or 3 hours. Better than 8 hours unfocused, messing around, like I want to play some video games, or I want to call, this girl I want to date or whatever. But the point is, all of us should strive for balance that is fun and that makes our lives feel like it's in order, in alignment. Alignment's the word that I love. Jillian uses it a lot. But when you're in alignment, you produce better. The stuff you come up with is better. You're happier. And so you reach alignment when money is stationary, it's flowing. You don't feel stressed about income. Your relationships are strong. You're having good rapport with people in your life, whether it's your husband or your friends, whatever. You're having like exercise, both of the body and the mind, and you have a good faith, whether it's religion, spirituality, belief in whatever, but if you balance those things out, you're going to have a much better life, and you're going to be happier than most people. So some of the things that I do, just specific things, like I said, 2 hours of exercise almost every single day. I usually run and I lift weights, and I hired a trainer as well. I self-educate at least 2 hours a week, whether it's reading books, whether it's learning the software that I have better. Because we all use software in business, and I'm like, okay, well, what if I practiced it or watch videos on it for an hour, got deadly at it, like got really, really good. I make sure to, because I live alone, no pets, no, person in my life, I make sure that I give myself little field trips. So like I'll go out, take myself out to a movie or try a new restaurant, or make sure that I'm getting friend time with people that have dropped off the radar for a hot minute. San Diego's weird. I have a lot of friends here, but they will not reach out to me and invite me to stuff. And I'm just as guilty, because I'm not cultivating those friendships. I'm not regularly texting them like, hey, how's your life? I miss you, blah, blah, blah. And I have to remember that. I can't blame anybody else for my lack of a social life if I'm not out there, putting out positive energy. Throw out 15 texts to 15 people, your social life will change pretty quickly. And I need to remember that. But self-care is about being honest with how you feel. It's about really saying, hey, am I happy? If not, why? That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you nailed it there. Absolutely. And if you're sitting there, blaming it on everything else around you, then you're not there yet. Like you got to look at yourself and like figure out like how you're going to change it, because no one else is going to change it for you. Something else that I think heard on another podcast that you were on, maybe Annette's. I love that like you're totally fine and don't feel any shame for napping. Like I love it. And I'm glad that you threw that out there, because as I see that you are a wake up at 3-4 o'clock guy, I'm over here like, dear Lord, like, is he that healthy that he can stay awake all day? And then when I heard you say you take naps, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's physiology. Let me share some really important things that I've learned from this. So, like I said, I'm getting up at 3, 4 in the morning, and if I feel spacey, like it means I haven't gotten enough REM sleep. If I wake up and I still feel a little sluggish or a little spacey, I'll be up for like 3 hours. I'll have a cup of coffee. I will sleep, and I'll go on my couch here, and I'll just nap for like 45 minutes, catch that REM sleep. 7 a.m. wake up like alert. So that's another thing. If you're doing multi-periodical sleep like I am, you have to understand when you have enough REM sleep and when you don't. You can feel it. If you feels like you're spacey and underwater and you're like suspended animation, you need a nap. You need a little bit more. And once you catch up, you're good to go. And then I got that midday nap I take every single day, like 30 minutes, about 11:30 or 12. And then I'm good to go. And I can work from 3 a.m. to like 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. And it sounds like a lot. Some people are like, my God, are you on that Gary V hustle 25 hours a day bullshit? And I'm just like, no, I don't believe in that. In fact, I encourage people to not do that, every single day, because you'll have a miserable life. I'm doing it now because I enjoy it. I don't have anybody in my life that I'm devoting energy to temporarily. I will sometime. But for now, I really like the projects I work on. I like my clients. I like my balance. And if I want to do 16 hours a day because I'm not going to the club, or I'm not like, drinking 9 nights a week or whatever.
9 nights.
That's okay. Yeah. That's what San Diego is. You can drink every single night someplace cool, and too many people are caught up in that lifestyle, but that's not really me. I'm deep in the game and business, and I love it.
Yep. And then you allow yourself some time to get deep in those comic books too.
Exactly. And that's my creative energy. Some people play the guitar, some people play video games, some people watch Netflix, and I got a subscription to Iron Man, and I was super excited. Now I get comics in the mail and I buy graphic novels, but
right. And again, that's just more self-care.
Yeah. It helps me be happy. I'm legit happy when I'm reading about goofy Tony Stark and his crazy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. What else was I say? Oh, yes. I remember what I was going to ask, looking back there on your wall. Tell us more. I'm sorry. I have to admit, I haven't read an issue of Shift. Tell us what we could find in Shift. What kinds of stories?
For anyone that's kind of new or doesn't know me, Shift magazine is free to read. You can find it at shiftlifedesign.com, and it is a bi-monthly digital produced issue where I interview top performers. And so, like this new issue just came out, Amber Furman. Amber was an attorney. She's in DYP also, but she was an attorney. But once she realized that goal, she had this revelation, like, this is not what I signed up for. This is way different. It's kind of miserable, and I'm not really having fun. And then she just launched a book club and started being a business coach, and like did an event. And she's a very powerful person. She's a wonderful person. So reading her story was super inspirational, because here's what's cool, Jennifer. I do these interviews with these people. I look forward to when the main feature submits the article to me, because it's the first time I get to see it too. And I get to see it for anybody. And I just read it and I'm like, my God, her dad died. And that was like her world. Her dad died when she was like young. And that was, her dad was like her hero. And I'm like, this is so powerful and emotionally driven. And it just, I love reading the interviews before the magazine goes live, because it helps me to feel like I'm connecting with the people better. But this issue, we had Jason Lane Curtis, a couple different things, but every issue is Shift. You asked what somebody can expect. So we have a main feature who we're going to run about 10, 12 pages. We will have usually some small stuff like an event, a podcast review, a book review. And I do something I really like that I made up called Ask the Pros, where I'll reach out to one of my higher level friends in the business world, and I'll ask them a very specific or controversial question about, what do you think of MLMs? What do you think of guru fraud? Like all this different stuff. And I just want to get some, some fun comments that are thought provoking, and getting them talking about, or their industry. For example, this one was Jason Lane Curtis talking about payment processing systems instead of PayPal, if you want to save money. Ask the Pros is fun. And I used to do something called Spotlight, where it was for people that didn't have a lot of coverage. And I would pick 3 people around the world, and I would just do a little circle, some information about them, but it could be somebody in Glasgow, it could be somebody in Moscow, it could be somebody in Chicago, whatever. But the Spotlight was cool because we had a little line coming down, a map, and it was like, this is where they're at, this is what they do, here's their link. I write very specific business articles sometimes. And then, we have regular ads, and we have, we try and have really, really wild stories about people that have gone through a lot or done some incredible things. And the magazine itself has allowed me to interview, Stephen Kuhn and Dr. Dale Comstock from Delta Force and just all these great people. It's not a veteran magazine, but it is a very veteran-centric magazine.
Right.
We interview a lot of vets, and we tell Richard Kaufman's story or Annette Whitberger, but it's mainly about performance. And the reason it's called Shift is because we all have the ability to shift our lives into who we want to be. And so I thought, okay, what if Tim Ferriss made a magazine? What would it be like? Deconstructing processes from experts. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna make a magazine about this, and taught myself how to do it. Bang.
Bang. Drop the mic.
Yeah.
What a great title for a magazine, and the story behind it. Like, really shifting our mindset is just can do so much. I know it has for me, so thank God. And it's brought me across so many different people that I've learned from, just like yourself. So if other people want to stalk you and learn more about you, where can they find you besides everywhere?
Yeah, turn on Facebook. You see my dumb face all over. yournextlevelofsuccess.com is my main website. And then there's always shiftlifedesign.com if you want to read the magazine. There's the Warrior Strategist blog you can look up. I have a lot of different little things going at one time.
Yeah. I'm sure you do, but I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not like you are okay, let me slow my roll. Having all these different things going on. What's cool though is that like you are so good at it. So even like I was saying, design your own paycheck, you're able to be so effective. And I think that's, again, because you say your 2 to 3 hours a day is just so focused. And man, so I hope other people can continue to learn from you, because really shifting that mindset and stepping out of that fear and that unknown, and being able to think creatively and just know you are a boss. You have the opportunity to be a boss, and not just your own boss, but like YOLO. You only live once. Make the most of it.
Oh yeah. I don't give a shit about anything anymore. And what I mean by that, I'm not trying to sound crass or arrogant. What it means is I'm no longer living in fear or self-doubt. Like the imposter syndrome is way down these days because I believe in what I'm doing and I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor. And I base that more on what people are telling me. Perception's everything. I don't base it on my own opinion of myself. I base it on people that reach out and like, Rob, you're doing great. You're kicking ass. Thank you so much for what you did, or thanks for writing the article. And I'm just proud I've gotten here, and I'm very, very grateful. People like you that are just super cool and supportive and, positive. That's the thing. Be more positive. Everybody watching this, like, send out good energy.
Yes.
There's plenty of people complaining out there and miserable and all that stuff. But just that's really, I think, why people gravitate to me, is because I try and be positive every day. And if I have to complain, I make it funny.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy.
Yeah, you sure do. Even just reading your posts, not only do I learn a lot, but you're just so real and authentic, right from mentioning, going to watch a movie by yourself, and that's okay. And, and then like complaining about something, but making a joke about it, or putting out those questions, getting people fired up. Hilarious. So Rob, thank you so much for being on here. I look forward to continue learning from you, collaborating with you, and for just to watch you continue to make this mark on the world that will leave a legacy behind that is amazing. So thanks for coming on to talk about it and get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Thanks, Jennifer. This is great. Appreciate you.